Hello, welcome to the morning news. One of the largest cities in the United States has declared a state of emergency after police clashed with hundreds in protest over the death of an African-American young man while in custody. Baltimore Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake ordered a nighttime curfew for all city residents from this evening on. In addition, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan imposed a state of emergency and called in 5,000 National Guard troops in addition to the same number outside police ordered to the area. At least 27 people were arrested as protesters, many of them high school students, clashed with law enforcement as anger over the death of Freddie Gray continues to simmer. The 25-year-old man died from severe spinal injuries sustained after being arrested by Baltimore police. Meanwhile, thousands of mourners and supporters gathered at the New Silent Baptist Church to pay respects to young Gray. A banner reading "Black Lives Matter" and "All Lives Matter" hung in the church, which was packed with around 3,000 people. Gray's family and their lawyer called for calm amid the growing tensions. However, many also spoke against the negative portrayal of protests against the mass killing.
So it's easy for the news to capture young people rioting and looting. It's easy to show that, but you ain't ever gonna say why.
Public school teachers in Colombia enter their fourth day of a nationwide strike. Thousands gathered in the capital of Bogota to make their demands known. Our correspondent Natalia Margarita has more.
For 10 years, Sandra has been teaching in a public school, holding a bachelor's degree in education for children with special needs. In 2009, she managed to enroll in a master program, which meant 3 more years of tireless efforts in order to finish.
Those 3 years basically meant I would leave behind my family, to struggle in the school as we are not allowed to study while working, also to ask for loans to afford the master's degree, all of that with the hope of getting a better salary.
But regardless of having completed her master's degree, Sandra's monthly salary still is $650. However, beyond the demand for better salaries, teachers have also denounced the harsh conditions they face while teaching in the rural areas of Colombia.
There's no proper infrastructure. We don't have specialized schoolrooms. We don't even have internet access. The government talks about connectivity, and I wonder where that connectivity is, as I don't believe that even in Bogota that exists.
Coming from Bolívar, one of Colombia's states most affected by the armed conflict, Dairon recalls what it means for a teacher to educate children in a context of violence.
We have also become social workers and psychologists, as we're the ones dealing with the socioeconomic and emotional background of children in conflict zones. And the education minister still says that we ask for too much.
While teachers' unions have called on the president to designate a negotiator different from the education minister, students have joined the teachers in a struggle they believe belongs to them too.
In order to have a free public education with proper quality, teachers must be granted with the best labor conditions.
Hundreds of thousands of teachers from public schools across all different regions of Colombia came to Bogota in order to tell the government that they will remain on a strike as long as concrete solutions to their demands are not provided. Natalia Margarita, teleSUR, Bogota.
The Peruvian Congress approved the appointment of Petro Cateriano as Prime Minister, along with another 18 ministers. Cateriano becomes the 7th PM to take office for President Ollanta Humala. Despite the approval, Congress members on the left challenged DTM for a series of issues, including the privatizations of oil fields. Cateriano's approval avoids the need to dissolve Congress and call for new elections. Chile approved major changes to its electoral system put in place by former dictator Augusto Pinochet before he was forced from office. President Michelle Bachelet signed the bill into law Monday. It also looks to ensure more participation of women in politics by imposing gender quotas on parties. The law replaces the system introduced by Pinochet, which imposed a complex arrangement intended to benefit conservatives while marginalizing leftist parties. EU leaders met with Ukrainian President Pyotr Poroshenko in Kyiv Monday. They praised the austerity reforms the country has agreed to as part of a massive $17.5 billion IMF bailout package. President of the European Council, Donald Tusk, and European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker spoke to reporters during the summit. Poroshenko hailed the team that the foreign politicians granted Ukrainian citizenship in order to oversee Kyiv's plan of reforms, which include severe cuts and deregulations. As the death toll rises in Nepal after the devastating earthquake, residents are also expressing frustrations over what some consider to be a slow response from authorities. Officials say that over 4,300 have been confirmed dead as rescue crews continue to scour the rubble and aid trickles in. Thousands more, fearing the threat of tremors, as well as those left homeless, are still sleeping outdoors under makeshift tents. International aid has begun to arrive, although authorities estimate there as many as 8 million are in need following the magnitude 7.9 quake. The Syrian army is responding to takeover of a northern city by Turkish-backed armed groups. Our correspondent Nashwan Abdullah explains the offensive by air and ground is an attempt to prevent armed militias from positioning themselves within the city limits. He gives us the following report.
The Syrian army launched more than 40 airstrikes against extremist groups in Jisr al-Shughur. They also managed to re-establish contact with their army units fighting in the city. The air raids succeeded in forcing the militias to retreat from many points in the city. Many analysts see this battle as a means to exert pressure against the Syrian government.
All the signs indicate that there is an international approval to solve the Syrian conflict in a political way and throughout a Syrian dialogue. This situation is uncomfortable to the U.S. Zionist alliance in the region, so they are working to destabilize the situation in the north and the south of Syria.
The majority of the Syrian people see the ongoing Western aid to extremist groups as a very dangerous threat to the country. They are hoping the Syrian army will re-establish control of the northern and southern strategic points.
I wonder why they hate us that much. I mean, Erdogan and his government. But God willing, we will be victorious in the wisdom of our leadership and the sacrifices of our army.
Over the weekend, tension increased on the southern borders with Israel, especially after a Syrian army rocket storage in Al-Qalamon Mountains was bombed. Israel denied its connection with the airstrikes, but the people of Syria believe they are to blame with the attack. Nashwan Abdullah, teleSUR, Damascus, Syria.
And one of the Hollywood and Mexico's biggest names was in Lebanon visiting Syrian refugees to highlight the needs of those impacted by the violence. Salma Hayek met with the refugee children. She visited the school and joined in on classroom studies to draw attention to the humanitarian crisis. Hayek, who starred in films about the lives of Frida Kahlo as well as the Marable sisters, is co-founder of a global campaign to raise funds and awareness around the rights of girls and women. According to UNICEF, some 14 million children have been affected by Syria's 4-year conflict, with close to 2 million who are living as refugees in neighboring lands. More on these on our website, telesurtv.net/English. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.